another day in our lives. And Lord God, we pray tonight that you will be with our town board members, watch over them, strengthen them, guide them, and direct them as they make decisions that should lead to Cloverdale into a better future. Lord God, please be with each and every one that cometh to the meeting tonight. Watch over them, strengthen them, guide them, and direct them. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dan. All right, roll call. Larry Fiddler. Here. Cindy Holland.
Here.
Greg J.
Here.
Brandon Tancack.
Here.
And myself, I'm here. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce to you our newest council member, Brandon Tancack. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And if you would like to speak to the folks, a little bit about your background maybe?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll keep it kind of short and sweet.
Thank you.
Cloverdale graduate of 2002. Beautiful wife Mandy, 3 beautiful kids. A lot of you know my grandparents. They lived here their entire lives. My great grandparents lived in Cloverdale, owned multiple businesses around town. Current president of the Cloverdale Community Youth League. Got a lot of things going in the right direction, and I'm excited about this opportunity and this venture. It's a new endeavor to say the least, and I'm stoked. I'm excited. Going forward.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I reached out to Lois Bennington last week and see if she could come tonight. We have 2 plaques. We're going to present one to Lois, and one we're going to hang here in Town Hall for Gary Bennington's service that he gave this community for so long. And she couldn't make it tonight. She is working, but she does belong on the park board as well. And John Berry has graciously came to accept this for Lois. John, if you would. The plaque does say, in appreciation of Gary Bennington for your outstanding and dedicated service to our community, Cloverdale Town Council 2016 to 22. Thank you so much. Right. Let's see. We have any additions or deletions to the agenda? I do have 2 deletions. One will be, let's see, 8D4, the claims, or, is that the one? No, I'm sorry, not that one, I apologize. You have something on that one, the claims for McAllister?
I'll talk about the council.
Okay, I'm not dropping that one, I apologize. It's, let's see, we are gonna delete, oh, dang it. Oh, right there on the front page, I'm sorry. It was 8A2, the lease. We will delete that today. And what was the other one, Richard? Or was that it?
That's it.
That was it.
Do we have farm ground information?
Have the what?
The farm ground information?
Farm lease.
Well, we could go ahead and,
Do you have the leases, the bids?
no, but we have to announce it, right?
You can announce it.
Yeah. Kelly didn't give them to me, so I don't know if we have them.
Oh, okay.
But somebody, the guy that did it last year was asking. So I imagine we'll work on getting that,
Okay.
so. Oh, okay, the other one is 11B, the employee handbook. And Kelly and Richard are firming that up. We'll delete that and take a look.
Yeah, we don't need to do this now.
Okay. All right.
And then we were, I think the last meeting was the inclement weather for the domestic. We were gonna follow up with that this month.
Is that on here?
No,
Okay, you want to add that then?
Richard was gonna do some research for the fall weather domestic animals.
See, I don't have it that tonight.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so I guess
We'll do that, table that for next month maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right, anything else? Additions or deletions? All right, how about approval of the minutes for February 8th, 2022 regular meeting? Second.
Agenda two. You're okay.
Okay.
Back up.
Okay. Cindy made a motion to accept the minutes. Do I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Didn't get much. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Back to the additions. Combining both additions, it's additions and deletions together. Okay, back to the wow. Additions and deletions to the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sorry, folks. Oh, my. All right, we move on to claims and transfers. For the general fund, it's $111,028.96. Can I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The water is $62,849.61. Can I get a motion? Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, wastewater, $75,092.77. Can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
Second. All right. Lastly, the payroll, $49,860.
You gotta get a vote on that last one.
On wastewater?
Did you get a vote on it?
Yeah, Cindy motion and Larry second.
Second.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Am I here tonight? Sorry, okay. Payroll, $49,860.30. A motion, please? A second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
How about that, man?
Made it through that.
Yeah, I know. Kelly usually does this one. All right. Communications, town marshal, Adam.
All right, it's been a busy couple months to start the year off. All of you have the packets, we're averaging about 400 to 500 calls a month. Still have a few reserves that are still in training. Sometimes it just depends on the hours that they put in, how quickly they get released. I've got a couple that are putting in anywhere between 100 and 130 free hours a month. So we're thankful for them. The radios, do you want me to speak on them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Portable radios, we're looking to buy 2 new portable radios. Of the 2 that we've got spare, one of them has quit working and one of the other batteries have quit working. So them are vital for the 2 that we keep in here, are vital for the reserves use, and then of course any of the merits that are on duty. If our batteries go dead, that's where we exchange a battery in here and get it fully charged. And so we're just running really short on radios. We're having people out there without a radio.
You got quotes on those yet, or working on it?
They do have quotes, but I don't have them with me.
Oh, okay.
They had quotes and the phones were there.
Okay. Good deal.
And that's all I got.
Thank you, Adam. Fire chief, do we have anybody here? Fire department, doesn't look like it.
They've been busy.
Yeah,
A lot of grass fire.
Okay. All right, town manager, Jason.
Okay, I know I didn't probably get my additions made to the agenda, and I apologize. Doe Creek Meadows subdivision. Update you on that. If you've been down there, they have started construction. They've kind of got the roads cut in, they do have the retention pond in place, it's not finished grade, but they're moving along pretty well. The weather's cooperating with them thus far, so, they expect to have infrastructure in the ground within 3 weeks. So, here in a few minutes, or we can talk about it now if you want, but I have 2 ordinances that I would like for you to review at some point. It's in regards to, kind of pertains to this situation at subdivision, but it also pertains to the lateral that we've talked about for the last 2 meetings. So we can talk about it tonight if you'd like. I just put down in my opinion what the ordinance could look like. And I say could look like. And I sent to Mr. Shagley, and he wants to review it as well. I gave Don a copy of that because he's kind of involved in this as well. I'm not asking for you to adopt that tonight, that's just kind of for you to review. I met with both Brad and Richard today. We went through that ordinance, proposed ordinance, to hash it out, to make sure that it fits our needs. So it's for you to look at, but it is something we really would like to act on fairly quickly. But I think it can wait till next meeting. Well, I know it can wait till next meeting.
Okay.
But that does also kind of somewhat pertain to Doe Creek Meadows subdivision. He's gonna be moving pretty quickly, and he really needs us to make some decisions with regards to some of the utilities. And with regards to those is the way our ordinance reads with regards to tap fees. We have a $1,000 tap fee for water and a $1,000 tap fee for sewer. In the case down there, he will be installing the sewer entirely. So I truly question why we're charging a tap fee if he is doing the installation of the entire sewer. Same is very similar to the water. Although we do have some investment in the water, we will be paying about $1,061 in the pit, the water line that goes, the service line that goes to the pit, the meter, and the setting. So there's about $1,000 there that we'll have invested. So look over those ordinances at some point. Give me your thoughts on those. We can make adjustments. Again, he's not had a chance to review them either. I sent those to him, I don't know, about 5 o'clock today, so he's not had a lot of chance to review. But we're trying to get this moving, because he is trying to get some decisions made down there at the property.
In the past, when he builds it out, that'd be a private sewer until he taps in. And then I assume they'll turn it over to the town.
Yes.
So we'll inspect during the process of, before he buries them.
We will.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll inspect both water and the
Right.
sewer. But he's gonna be moving on this a little faster than I was anticipating. I thought we had a little bit more time, but, but I'm anxious. He thinks he's going to have homes there in June.
Well, do we need to have a special meeting before next month, or do we have time? until next
I would be
month?
okay with that, honestly. You know, if Richard has a chance to look over these ordinances, what I just kind of proposed, and it's just something I threw together based on we had a special meeting about it, and then we talked about it at our last meeting. So I kind of put together what I think you guys were thinking at that meeting, and put it into an ordinance form, kind of matched it up with our town codes.
Do either of those, because it's all private property right now, he has not turned over the roads, anything.
Correct.
So he'd really just be paying one tap-on fee. Or we're gonna make him pay a tap-on fee for each house he connects to that.
My proposal is, well, let's talk about water first, I guess. He's gonna be doing his contractor is going to be, well, first of all, running the main line through the whole thing, and that's the contractor's responsibility and the developer's responsibility. But from there, typically what would happen is they would come to the town and pay $1,000, we call it a
Access fee?
access fee. Or no, I'm sorry, it's not even an access fee, they call it no, we don't call it a tap fee, we call it something else. It is a tap fee, a connection fee, is what it's called in our code, a connection fee
Okay.
of $1,000. After we get this resolved, I really want to go back and look at that fee altogether, because it's not, $1,000 isn't enough. just for our meter bit, everything that sits in the meter bit and the service line, we're just shy of $1,100. So we come up short there. But what I'm proposing is that, and we kind of talked about this in one of the last two meetings, is that while the developer or the contractor is there for the developer, that he go ahead and make those installations for each of those meter pits. And we would not have to do that. So I spoke with the contractor to see how much he charges for each one, and it's $450. So I have a resolution here as well that I just put together as well today that, I can read it to you, and this is just a proposal as well. That it would reduce the connection fee from $1,000 to $550 for all 19 of those lots. But they would be responsible for doing all of that work. So we wouldn't, it's really just a net shift, whether we're doing it and costing us, or we're hiring somebody to do it and paying somebody $450, or we just say, hey, you do it.
That's what he's charging, is $450.
That's what the contractor is going to charge the developer.
Correct.
So all this does is shift some of that, and that's what that $1,000 connection fee is for. That's why you collect a connection fee. So that's why I put this resolution together to clarify what I'm proposing. We can scrap this and say, no, go ahead and pay the $1,000 to us, and we'll find a contractor, or our guys will do it, or however. I know we talked about just having a contractor doing it, so that we're not taking our guys out of their typical day-to-day job.
Right.
So that's what that resolution is there. I know that all this is kind of intertwined, so I know it's kind of confusing a little bit.
Keep in mind that $450 is because he's gonna be doing, what, 23 of them?
19.
19, yeah.
If you're calling out to do one,
It'd be a lot more, $450.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the last subdivision in town was done on a as-need basis. So, I mean, we were still dealing with that just a few months ago. We did a new service for a new home at Whispering Winds. I really want to avoid that. I would prefer, when this development goes in, all 19 of those meters are set.
Yeah, yeah.
The meters may not be in there, but the whole setter is gonna be in there, and the pit's gonna be there. So when they do build the home, that, we have nothing to do. Our equipment will never have to go in there again.
if we
And
want it built out to the right of way, so our portion at least would be done.
correct.
Then when they go place the house, they can run the line to our lateral. Right?
Yeah,
I'm talking sewer.
oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, sewer would be that way.
Yeah.
They would build their sewer from the lateral, or I'm sorry, from the main, the lateral from the main to the property line. When they build the house, they would finish it. And they'll do all of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I question whether there should be we've typically called a tap fee in the past. And that's where I'm proposing in one of these ordinances that we no longer have that, or we don't, for that development, don't charge a tap fee, but an access fee.
Or connection fee.
Or connection.
Okay.
Connection fee, tap fee, I'm sorry, I know I'm kind of intertwining
Yeah,
that.
okay.
I think really, if you look through these ordinances and the resolution, it'll be a lot clearer. And we can have a special meeting to really dive into that if you really want to.
Well,
Because it is confusing, I completely understand.
yeah, I mean, I like the way it is. I mean, if it's $1,100 for the connection fee, right? And they're doing the work for $450, we're still gonna get the $550.
Correct.
And we're not doing the work, but we do the inspection and all that, right? Kind of makes sense, and then we don't have to do all that labor ourselves.
Yeah, all we're doing is calling out
The
labor.
contract, the owner's paying the $450.
Right. Yeah, he's.
So we get the full $1,000.
Well,
No, we would get
this would reduce it
to
to,
$550.
because it is our responsibility
Yeah.
to get from the water main and set the water meter.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have to pay for it either way. It's whether
Yes.
we pay for it after we get the $1,000 and go get it done,
Yeah.
or we just say, hey,
Yeah.
You handle it, we'll reduce by $450. But so that we're not in conflict with our code, that's the only reason I put this in resolution.
Okay.
So that at some point, somebody can't come back and say, hey, you were playing favorites to this developer, why did you do that? Well, this is why.
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
you know, we're not trying to give him a discount or a deal
No,
in any
no, no.
way.
Right.
We were gonna have to eat that $450, whether it's after we get $1,000, or we can just let him do it all and just say, we'll just charge you $550. So that was the reason I put that in resolution, just so there's no favoritism for any developer.
Right. Right.
And that's why I just did a resolution for it.
Well, again, we talked a little bit about it, it was just a matter of coming up with a number, right?
Correct, and I got that number from his contractor that he's using,
Okay.
it's
So-
Price out of Crawfordsville.
In lieu of a special meeting in a couple of weeks, do we want to move on this tonight?
You could on this, I think the
On the
other two
resolution.
ordinances, on the resolution,
Yeah.
I would be okay with you on the resolution.
Yeah.
On the ordinances, I think we really need to put some
Yeah, absolutely.
more
I agree.
thought into
Yeah.
that. The resolution, I think, is pretty
Okay.
clear and a little easier to understand.
Okay.
I think this issue is too complicated and too involved just to do it on a brief meeting this evening with this kind of agenda. And I do think you need to have a special meeting for it. And I'll clear my calendar and do everything I can do to be here when you have that special meeting. Because I do
Well-
have several questions about this as to how it's gonna function,
Well, go
and how
ahead.
it's going to
What are your
affect
questions?
me adversely or adversely. I don't know.
Well, I'm okay with the special meeting, but
Okay.
this is the third meeting we've talked
Yeah.
about. So we did have a special meeting about this issue as well.
Right.
And I can answer it for you, it benefits you.
Well,
Go ahead and pass it.
No, what are your questions, Don? I mean, what,
Well, as an example, previously on the sewer tap first, let's talk about that. That whether, if the lateral was already across the road, but not, or if the sewer was on the same side of the road we were putting the building or putting the tap in. When we paid our $1,000, more often than not, we were given a saddle to tap onto the sewer, put the saddle on and tap into it and go. But we did the work. We found this main, cleaned the area, put the saddle in, put the pipe into the lot, into the home, and we did all that, but we still paid a $1,000 fee. Now, if what you are saying is, if we do all that, we're only gonna pay a $450 excess fee on the sewer, that's a different story. On the water, if the water is there on the same side of the road, the town would tap, if the tap wasn't already there, they would tap the main water line and provide the pit and the saddle for the meter to be installed, or 2 meters to be installed, split for 2 lots, and put it on the property line between the 2 lots. And then when the time came, they would install a meter and a pigtail for that additional lot or the lot we were working on. Again, we were paying $1,000 apiece for those 2 lots, but there would be only 1 connection servicing a double service pit.
well,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that we're getting these two issues kind of intertwined.
this is the water we're talking about here, right? On the
Yeah, but we're
resolution.
talking about sewer there as well. But
Yeah.
the ordinances deal with sewer.
Okay,
The resolution is just water.
right.
But and I did 2 separate ordinances, and we could combine those. Mr. Shagley asked about combining those, and that's a possibility. The only reason I did them in 2 is one dealt with finances, which is gonna have to be advertised, because it changes some of the fees. But, yes, I'm okay with having a special meeting to discuss that, just get those ordinances. I mean, I think we're really, really close.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure that you guys or at least I interpreted what you guys wanted at the last meeting. I just kind of put in there and tried to,
I think, special meeting, let us review, let Richard review, and then we
Yeah, and I gave Don a copy of it too,
So
for him to
let's
review.
let all parties
It's on your-
review it in detail.
When do you want to have a special meeting?
Okay, how's the 22nd look? It's 2 weeks from tonight. 22nd.
What time?
Oh, it is.
What does that mean?
Nothing for me.
I won't be able to be here.
I say, he must
I'll be
not
out of
be
You'll be
here.
out of town, okay. Next week's too soon, because don't we have the public,
You're
I
actually,
know, so,
we're not voting on anything to publicize.
When do they have to have an answer from us by? Because you said they were somewhat in a hurry.
They're gonna proceed with this project whether they get an
What
answer
about
or
next
not,
Tuesday
so,
then?
I mean, I'm available next.
15th, okay?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, Gary? Larry?
Time?
15th?
I think so.
I promise, we'll keep that one quick.
Okay. Get that in
Promise?
writing,
Hey,
Greg.
we need that in writing.
6 o'clock?
Okay,
Yes.
sounds good to me. 6
Six
o'clock.
is better.
Okay. All right. So does that take care of water PER and wastewater PER, or is that something else?
No, I'm sorry, this word's gonna get lengthy, I have a feeling. Eric,
4
Eric's
minutes.
Eric's
Four minutes?
Start the clock.
with HWC Engineering, he's gonna present the water and the wastewater PER and
Okay.
maybe update you on a side project, Joe.
I'll try to keep it as brief as possible, but there is a lot of information to go through, so bear with me.
That's quite all right. Thank you.
I don't know where the best place is for these graphics. If I put them here, can everybody see them? They're also in your packet, but will this work? Everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
I'm basically just gonna be pointing to areas of the town, so. Okay, tonight what we'd like to do is kind of explain what we've been working on for the past several months with respect to your water and sewer utilities. I guess for the record, Eric Smith of HWC
Yeah,
Engineering.
Eric, if you don't mind grabbing that mic, I don't know if they can hear us on the
Okay.
streaming or not.
Okay, tonight we're gonna talk about what we've been working on with the water and wastewater utilities. We've been completing a preliminary engineering report for each system. And what that study has done is evaluate your existing systems, look at where they have deficiencies, needs, compliance issues, things that could hinder growth in the future, developed alternatives to address those needs, and then evaluated those with your staff, got their input, evaluated costs for all the different alternatives, both capital costs and annual costs for operation and maintenance, with the goal being to complete each of these preliminary engineering reports so that they can provide a recommended project so that we can submit these to the Indiana Finance Authority State Revolving Loan Fund. That is an agency that we've talked briefly in the past, but they have low interest loans as well as what they call forgivable loans, which are essentially grants for municipalities like Cloverdale for water and wastewater projects. They also, coincidentally, all of the infrastructure money that Indiana is getting for utility work is being funneled through them. So all that money from the feds, they have more money this year and next than they've had historically. And their numbers were already going to be up before that infrastructure bill passed. The good news is, if you're going to be doing water and wastewater projects, this is a good time to be doing it. But what the preliminary engineering reports will do is get you in line for that funding. They will score the report, and a lot of that is basically how we write the report to see, what your needs are. On the wastewater side, you've got some item issues and compliance things you've had in the past. That actually helps you, because that shows that you have needs. So they will score you. We get bonus points. Their fiscal year starts on July the 1st every year. And that's when they allocate what projects they're going to fund, which ones get grant money, and kind of the schedule for that year.
When do we have to be in, or?
You have to be in by May 1st, but if you're in by April 1st, you get bonus points on your scoring. And we are ready, but we want to present where we're at tonight. And there are a few steps you'll have to take either tonight or before April 1st. If you have a special meeting, you could always, defer a couple of things we might do tonight. And then there'll be a few things that'll happen after April 1st, but we will have already submitted what we need to. So I'm going to go through each of the projects or each of the utilities separately, explain to you what we have decided upon collaboratively with your staff and Jason. They know your system well. I mean, we, our engineers and our experts in our field, but they work with the system every day, so we value their input, and it was certainly a collaborative effort. So we're going to start with the water first. This is a map that shows the different projects that we are looking at, and this will be the first item in your packet after the cover letter. And these are the different areas that are in the project, and the first item is water distribution area 1, which is this area right here, and that's on Lafayette Street. We're going to be replacing that undersized main there with a 6-inch line. The next area is area 2, which will be replacing this existing 2-inch line with a 6-inch line. The third area is area 4, which is replacing an existing 3-inch line with a 6-inch line. And all of those will improve hydraulics and replace a problematic main in this area that's also undersized. And then the last item that you'll see is labeled water system expansion. That is this yellow area here, or a yellow line. Essentially, that is extending a 10-inch line across I-70 and up to County Road 800. That does a couple things. That opens up some areas, around the interchange for development because they are served with some undersized main. The existing line under I-70 is in bad shape. It's an old transite line, so it needs to be replaced. So it puts a new line under I-70. It also provides better hydraulics on the north side of the interstate, so if there's growth and development or if somebody wants to buy water in that area, you're better set up for that. So those, I won't go into all the details of those costs, but all the different pipe installation, valves, hydrants, every place we're putting in these lines, we're putting in big enough lines that they'll have fire hydrants on them. The total construction cost of that project is $3.88 million. Now, I want to caution you, you're not committing to spending $3.88 million by submitting this PER. There's one thing that will factor into your decision is Jason and our firm have been talking with a financial advisor that is looking at both of your utilities and evaluating where they are now, and then we'll also evaluate what impact a project would have, assuming you might get no grant or certain amounts of grant on the project. So at some point, you'll reach a go, no-go decision. Right now, we want to recommend everything that makes sense and is feasible today to be in that PER. So that's the recommended project on the water. Your next page.
Hey, Eric,
Yeah.
before we move on that yellow area, where you have the existing water storage tank, is there anything we need to do to make that bigger with what we might be seeing down the line?
10 inches.
Yeah, we are upsizing it to 10. That will.
No, I mean the line is, but the tank itself, does the
Oh,
tank need to
at
be
at
in?
this time, no.
Okay.
At this time, you have more than enough storage for your use. That's actually where I'm headed next.
Real
We,
quick before you go, you mentioned the hydrants. Are there no hydrants on those lines now that you're replacing?
If they're 2 and 3 inch, they won't flow
They won't
high enough to
survive
flush.
what we need.
And if there really should only be a flush hydrant on those side mains now, so they probably have a combination of both.
So people should then see a decrease in their insurance.
Theoretically, they could, if it's
Close to
rated,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly, there will be more flow there to fight fire.
Yeah.
This,
Sir, you said it's a proposed 10-inch water main going under 70. You said there's a current line there. What size line is currently there?
it's a 6,
So you're proposing going from 6 to 10?
yeah. And it's a bottleneck, because right now, the in-dock garage, during peak periods, only has about 30 pounds of pressure and a limited flow. So this will certainly help the north side of 70. The second sheet there, this shows some areas of the system that we also looked at, but we didn't necessarily recommend anything. The well field, we looked at installing a new well or installing a new well at a different location or no action. Right now, based on your current demand and your existing well capacity, it did not make sense. There's not a need, so at this point, we recommend a no action. In the future, if demand grows, that may change, but right now, there was not a need. The transmission main, that is the main from your plant to the town. It's a transite line. The staff has had to make repairs on it, but it's the length and the cost, it's not worth replacing at this point for the amount of repairs that they have to do to it. So that no action was recommended on that one. Because as you can see, replacing the whole thing was $2.5 million. And the value you get out of that was just not worth recommending that at this time. The distribution we talked about, water meters, we are not going to take any action on that at this time. The water system expansion, that was the yellow line up to the north. And then water storage, we looked at the need for additional storage, and as we said, right now, there's not the need. So we did look at more areas of the system than what was recommended, just wanted to kind of go through those. So any questions on the water?
You okay, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't have anything. Richard's only thing was if we go under the intersection to board, so that's the only thing his comment was for the night, so,
And we're gonna do that.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to the wastewater then. That is the next section in your packet. We'll look at the collection system first. First item there is replacing lift station 5 and installing a backup generator on lift station 7. And those are not labeled on here, but lift station 5 has been a problem and needs to be replaced. It's a source of I&I. The structure itself is poor. And lift station 7 needs backup power. So that was a high priority on the lift stations, and really that's the only work on the lift stations that we're doing with the wastewater we're recommending. The next area is Rabbit Run, which is this area here. That is, and there's two areas you'll see that there are two main lines that run along waterways, and historically Cloverdale has had inflow and infiltration, which is where you get clear water into the sanitary system. So there's been some flow metering done, in those areas, and we're looking at lining this sewer here along Rabbit Run. You can see the cost of that is $397,000, and that lining is actually where they pull a cured in place poly resin, heat it up, and it actually adheres to the existing pipe. And it's structurally sound, and the pipe that's there could be gone, and it would essentially act like a PVC pipe. The next item is Doe Creek, down here. Same thing, we'll be looking at installing a cured in place pipe liner there. That's also an area that was noted as having a high rate of infiltration. That one is $281,000. The area by the grain we're calling it by the grain elevator, that is an area that's been a topic of item inspections. This area right here, there's also a manhole there that needs to be replaced. So we're looking at lining that sewer and replacing that manhole. That is a major source because it's in a low area. That's $79,000 for that section. Hurst Avenue, this area right here. We are looking at open cutting that rather than lining it, just because of the condition of the pipe. That's $125,000. And then lastly is Logan Street, this little section here, that's $50,000. So that's generally, also I missed, replacing this force main here in Stardust Hills. That is yes, on the next page.
Eric,
Yeah,
on the Hurst Avenue, there's also a structure inset as well, right?
yes, yeah, that structure's in there. Stardust Hill, that would be installed via directional drill, replace that force main. That's been a problem. They've had to repair a lot of leaks there, so that's $318,000. And that's all of the collection system. So that, the main goal there was to try to fix mainly a lot of inflow and infiltration, and then also address a couple of lift issues. Now, shifting gears to the treatment, the wastewater treatment plant. A lot of this work is mainly due to depreciation and the condition of some of the existing facilities. One of the main items is replacing the existing bar screen. That's the mechanical screen that screens all the waste as it comes in. The current one is inoperable, so we'll be replacing that piece of equipment there. All of the wastewater comes in through that. There is one blower that needs replaced. Two blowers have been replaced in the past, replacing some older ones. This would replace that third blower. There is a bladder tank on the non-potable water system that's leaking that needs replaced. There is, on this aeration tank, there is a section of the concrete wall on that tank that is in very poor condition. Could fail, it needs to be replaced. It looks like it was just a bad section of pour that was tried to be repaired in the past. We actually had a contractor that does wastewater plants come out there and look at it with us and give us their opinion as well.
Would it be another repair or kind of replace the whole?
What they would do is cut out that section, dowel a new section of concrete in there, because the rest of the wall is in good shape. It's really just about an 8-foot section that just needs to be cut out from the top down to the base slab. So, and he concurred that it could be replaced and be fine. Clarifiers, this is the last process before the wastewater is disinfected and discharged. So the clear water leaves the plant through these structures. And due to a lot of the trees in the troughs, there's a circular trough here that the wastewater goes in and then hits an outlet point. They get a lot of algae and leaves in there, so we're going to put covers on those that will help the operators with the process. And then put some netting here to try to keep some of that debris from getting in there. So back to the table, the cost of the work at the treatment plant is $752,900. So when you add in all of those sections of collection and treatment and a contingency, the total construction cost of the wastewater is just over $2.5 million. And we did look at, similar to the water, we did look at some other areas that we did not do. We looked at, some other things at the plant like capacity. Right now you have good capacity, particularly when it's not raining. And given that we're targeting some areas that are very susceptible to high flows, we think that will help that problem. So there wasn't a need to look at capacity or excess wet weather treatment for the capacity of the plant. other than that, all the other improvements we looked at were touched on the wastewater side. So, going back to our letter, what we need to do is have some concurrence and approval of the selected plan so that we can submit the preliminary engineering report. Along with the preliminary engineering report, there is an application form for the town to submit with the PBR for funding from the state revolving fund, and those both need to be filed by April 1st. And again, this doesn't obligate you to borrow that much money. It basically gets you in line to get scored to see where you're at. Next steps, key one is to get our financial analysis done from the rate consultant to see, number one, where your rates are now and what impact these projects might have on it. We may, you may decide that we don't do both of them now. We may do one and then the other. That's a decision we can make after we get these submitted and get you in line. We will have to have a public hearing, so we will go through this in an advertised public hearing because they require that with the preliminary engineering report. So, and they did say that those can happen after we submit and meet that April 1st deadline. So sometime in April or May, we will have another presentation to go through this. And if you guys have any revisions between now and April 1st, now's the time to look at those.
Do we know which we want to do first, water or sewage?
We want to submit it all.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Now, I don't see it, I was just rough number with water and sewers, like 8.2 mil.
You add them together, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From my perspective, based on how they will score them and a need perspective, I think your wastewater will score better.
Okay.
And I think you have a better chance of getting more grant funds for the wastewater just because of your rates are already at a higher level. And so that's something we'll need to consider, but that's, from my perspective, how I know they will score these. I think your wastewater will score better.
That and the IDEM dings on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help out.
You don't like to hear those, but they
No,
do
but
help
they-
you when it comes to
yeah,
something like
right.
this.
Right.
I think that's
Okay.
what I can tell you as far as sequencing on my end. The other, and obviously until we know where you score, the next step would be to start moving forward with one or perhaps both of these and moving into design. But until we know, we recommend we defer all that until we have some answers from the agencies.
Okay.
The other thing the rate consultant is doing what's called a cost of service study on your wastewater. And that's basically evaluating what it costs you to treat a gallon of wastewater. Why that is important is the Indiana Finance Authority is paying them to do that part of the study. Because Lever State Recreation Area is going to bring their wastewater to the town.
Right.
And the Indiana Finance Authority has hired us to do a preliminary engineering report for that piece. And that piece will be fully funded by them. You guys will not have a dollar in that. That's only going to help you. You have the capacity, and what they want to see is a financial analysis of what a fair rate is for them to pay. So, and that preliminary engineering report is essentially done as well. It doesn't have to follow the same time rules because it's two state agencies working together. It's not, and it won't be coming through you.
Do we know when that analysis will be done with Rick?
We gave them all of the initial information. The next step was, they said, once we had a final project that the town agreed on, we would share those costs with them.
So we have to make a decision here?
Yeah, we want to.
Yeah, we want to go ahead. I mean,
Is there a cost to submit the application?
No.
By April 1st?
Nope.
so it's
The
like,
the only cost you've incurred to date is the cost for us to do these reports that we've done.
And so, yeah, I mean, if it doesn't cost anything, to get the extra bonuses by the 1st of April.
Right.
You're not
The
hurting anything.
benefit outweighs any risk,
We're not,
so.
At this point, there is no risk.
Exactly, I mean, so I think at this point, we move forward on both projects.
What motion do you need then? Just a motion to,
What I'd like to have is that they concur on the selected plan that we developed for each utility, and then authorize the president to sign the 2 applications.
okay.
Well, can I get a motion?
We'll make a motion, we move forward.
Okay. Is there a second?
On both,
On both.
On
One
both
for me to
projects.
sign.
On you to sign and the projects.
Okay. Get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
If you can get me, it's the last page on the drinking water and the next to last page on the wastewater.
you have 2 copies, you have 2 copies of just one.
Just one, I'll scan one back to Jason.
Okay. And that would be signature of authorized signatory community official?
Yep.
Okay. I'll be working on that. Thank you, Eric, so
Okay.
much, appreciate it.
We'll work with Jason and
Yeah,
get
please.
this other item scheduled
Okay.
in the coming months, but we'll get these submitted by April 1st and get you one.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Those numbers too, then, or do you want me to do
I'll send them.
that?
I'll copy you.
All right, Jason, tree removal?
Yeah, tree removal, that is, last fall, we brought that up on Columbus Street, on East Columbus Street, you asked me to bring it back up in the spring, I'm bringing it back up. I don't have new quotes yet for you, but it's on the agenda, so I can get quotes if you want me to do that again. If you are
Yeah.
wanting to, if you don't want to do the project, if you. But it was a tree on East Columbus, that's there, the sidewalk, we pushed up.
That's, yeah, the sidewalk.
And you guys, in, last fall, you guys asked to take a look and bring it up this spring.
Okay. Well, the bid, the quotes, do the same?
I can check, I did.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll
if
put
you
it
don't
on.
mind checking, it's the same.
Utility vehicles, obviously, we don't have them yet, we haven't done it yet, but I have talked to Kit a couple times. We are gonna get the vehicles up there and have them looked at, they've gotten cleaned out at least once. Are they dirty again?
I mean, it's a working vehicle, so.
Yeah. So, we have.
So it's dirty again.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
We will get that taken care of.
Okay.
I forgot about that. In, while we're, if you don't mind me, add a couple things, Senator Gentleman, real quick, I'll do this quickly. I did get this today from our wastewater operator, advised that we probably need to have our pumps serviced. BL Anderson is who we have the quote from at $2,360. Apparently this is something we do annually, is that correct, Brad?
Which pumps is it?
The blowers, I'm sorry. The blowers and the,
Yeah, we get them annually. I believe it is BL Anderson that usually does it.
yeah, belts, filters, oil change.
Yes.
We'll check out.
Yeah, on the new Kaiser blowers.
I just received that this afternoon.
Is that something that's required to be done annually?
It's,
Is
I mean,
it
it's
like
preventative
change on a
maintenance kind of
vehicle, is
thing.
it required?
Yeah, it's,
They're pretty
Well,
expensive blowers.
I understand that, I'm thinking, talking, IDEM involved here, documentation purposes, is it required to be done annually?
not required, but they like to see it. They like to see that kind of maintenance documentation. It's not really exactly get a slap on the wrist for it, not having it, but at the same time, it's kind of like a scolding,
If you have a failure, they're not gonna be so.
Yeah.
Does it affect any type of warranties if we don't do it?
It can affect warranties. On the first one we purchased, I think it might be out of warranty, but the second one should still be under warranty, so it definitely affects that.
But it's also doing an inspection to make sure they see something.
Yeah, I was just curious about the documentation part.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the documentation isn't, it doesn't have to be there, but they do look for a maintenance journal. Like I said, you don't get dock points for not having it, but at the same time, they definitely look for it, so,
There's no forgiveness for failure.
yeah.
What's that cost again?
$2,360.
That's per month.
Lower.
That's for both lowers.
Both of us? I'll make a motion to go ahead and give them service.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I did talk to Kelly and the funds are there too. The other thing I wanted to throw in there real quick, the property at Stardust Hills that we have, that we acquired, we did receive an offer on that. The offer expired actually yesterday, but the agent involved is still inquiring how we want to handle that. So, this is something we can,
What's Richard's input?
I don't know that we really have any input on that yet.
Okay.
I know I've talked to Rick about that
Yeah.
over the weekend.
Yeah, the offer, or we asked for 15K,
Offered 10.
he come out 10, and I thought just go back and counter at 12.5, but I want Richard to.
It's never been appraised.
Oh, okay.
One of it did not have to be because the value did not have to be appraised.
Which piece,
It's
is this
going to be valued by a real estate professional, and I guess you,
we've worked on this a while ago. Is this the one, or is this the Irby's property?
we worked on it, but we just tried to, she just listed it maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
This is one by there's only one neighbor who were gonna give it to it. So sell it to it. That's a different.
No, that's a different property.
Oh, okay.
That's a different property.
Okay.
Which, well, bring that up here in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I should say account of it. And Kyle, I should talk about it at public meeting.
I'm a neighbor.
And, yeah, that is my only, correct, and this is something we can do in executive session. My concern is, how long is this buyer going to wait for us to make a decision?
Well, we can make a decision. We can go on the Zoom for our meeting next week.
Next Tuesday, do an executive, or?
No, we could open, just, I'd say talk to her and see what she would do. Put your realtor hat on and show some money.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're thinking we will not have a decision before next Tuesday? Is what you're,
Well, we need you to work with them and see if you can increase the amount, and then you can tell them that we can, if we have come to an agreement, we can approve it.
next Tuesday, yeah.
works.
Okay.
Then the last thing, I do have a quick claim deed for the property, Rick signed it earlier, for the old water tower site to be deeded to the redevelopment commission, so the redevelopment commission can, and they're in the process of attempting to sell that property. So that's all in the works right now, so the legal advertisement for that's already been done, and the notices have been sent out, so I do have that here. Although I didn't get that over, so I'll talk to you about that. But that's all I have as far as.
Can I do the McAllisters real quick, Mr. President?
Yes, please.
As you all know, we've had an outstanding invoice with McAllister over the pump that we borrowed
Yep.
a year and a half ago. The original amount was about
It's in the packet.
26-ish. They took 8 off already,
8K?
8,000.
Yeah.
So that left a balance of 18,500. I spoke to the guy today. He was with the collections department of Indianapolis. I asked him if there's any other,
Wiggle room.
actually, that's what I put in my emails, wiggle room.
Mercy.
And he talked to the local store, and they knocked off another $1,966.96. So that would be the balance of
But it looks like,
$16,617. And my suggestion would be to pay this, and let's be done with this. Because I think we probably still using McAllister for other things, and we do need them to be there for us, we need them to be there for us.
so, we're looking, pass that on to Richard. The one we have for 228 is 20,009, but you're taking that 19 off.
There, it should be 16,617. I've got new invoices, I'll send them to Kelly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, but you recommend we go ahead and pay
I'd
16?
get this over with and let's get it.
Nice.
done.
I believe Kelly did say we're good with the funds
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So, any further discussion? We want to go ahead and put this to bed? Yeah. Can I get a motion that we pay the 16?
I motion we pay the 16 and make it go away immediately.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
But I would like to point out though that the local store was very kind, I think, in knocking off the 8 and knocking off that.
Another two.
Because there was some miscommunication during, I mean, the rental. So who live and learn, and
Yeah.
they could help us out with jam when we
That's
need
true.
it, so I mean.
Let's see, we go to, on 8B on the back page here, we have revenue, appropriations, water, sewer, budget. That's just for our perusal, folks, there's no need to vote on it. This is, what we had to redo for the budget, right? And then the claims, that's what Richard just talked about. On E, planning BZA, anybody?
Nothing new.
Nothing new?
I can kind of update you on what, I attended a meeting last Friday with the county. They had their BZA, or representative BZA, planning commission, and county commissioner. And a couple other municipalities were, I've had this on the agenda for quite some time. We did interview 3 different engineering firms or consultants to redo the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan and the Putnam County zoning ordinance, as well as creating a stormwater board. The county has agreed to allow us to participate, as well as the other municipalities in Putnam County, with the exception of Green Council. So we did do an interview last week. We all gave our opinions to the commissioners, but the commissioners should be making a decision on it pretty soon. So hopefully if that decision is made, we will be able to start looking at reviewing our, kind of like when we had Brian Stump look at our ordinance
For zoning?
9 months ago,
Yeah.
about 9 months ago.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be involved. I think this is gonna be a much cheaper avenue than what we originally thought. So
Okay.
I'm kind of excited about this. So that is still proceeding. It's just taking us a long time to get to this point.
Good. All right, thank you. Park board, John, you have anything?
Yes, I just have a, thank you, first of all, I want to thank Jason for all the help at the park. We had some problems the other day with the flag. Only one of the guys helped me put it up. That's kind of a sticky situation in this community when the flag is not up.
Yeah.
And somebody either, well, the rope was removed and the flag.
Oh,
So I took my ladder down and then I borrowed one of the guys, we got that done, and I want to thank Jason for that. We have a problem with a tree in the park, and I haven't gotten with Jason with that. It's got a hornet's nest inside the tree, and it's by the restrooms. And part of the limbs fell off, and then, of course, I guess the hornets are going inside that tree. And I wasn't aware of it until,
Brad will take care of that when the hornets, when it gets a little warmer. Brad will take care of
Yeah, he's
that.
wearing his t-shirt.
I wear a t-shirt year round.
Okay, that is taken care of. And there's a special recognition I would like to make verbally. I've had 2 people that's really been tremendous help with the park, and that would be Ron Jones and Rod Garrett has been tremendous help helping me with that park and previously, and I want to say thank you. Okay.
All right, thank you, John. Let's see here. There was an ordinance floating around 2022-1. The additional appropriation. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know if it made it to you, Jason. And I don't think we had to sign it tonight. We can maybe do it next Tuesday.
It was in your, online packet.
No, we go ahead and approve it, but then, oh, there it is. Okay. Thank you. And that's right, it was 2 copies. That's right. So, this is where funds were requested to be moved around, that kind of thing. So, oh, we did get that signed, didn't we? Okay. Now we missed you, but there's two of them. So we're good to go there. Bridget, you get that one? All right, new business, Stardust Hills, HOA, Mr. Fish.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, David.
Happy to announce that we got Moonlight Dam repaired completely. The only thing left is to reseed for grass here in a few weeks. So the lift station right down the creek there is okay now, so it's no longer in jeopardy. I did want to ask about maybe what the plan is with some of those potholes. Some of them are big enough to swallow some cars.
We received an email about one today.
What's that?
We received an email about one today.
Okay, no, it wouldn't have been from me.
No,
Someone else.
somebody.
Okay. And then with spring coming up, we talked previously last year about doing some ditch clear outs for drainage. So I was curious if there's any additional thoughts with that as well.
Okay, it's on the agenda to do. We've got a healthy meeting.
Anything for me? Oh, the trees along the road. You guys got those knocked out, I think so.
Yeah.
It got brought up
About a month ago?
about a month ago, yeah.
I think the guys did that while I was in Florida.
You were gone when that happened, yes.
You're getting engaged or something.
Yeah,
We're doing something.
You guys are doing
Something,
awesome. All right. Do you need anything from us?
I think so. Thanks,
Thank you.
David.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Okay, introduce Beth Hamilton and Brittany Halcom from Edge 21. Please come on up to the mic. And welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us. Okay. My name is Beth Hamilton. I'm Executive Director of Edge 21. This is Brittany Halcom. She's our Success Coach partner. Edge 21 is a 501c3 nonprofit here in Putnam County. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it or not, but we are here to introduce Edge 21 to you, talk to you a little bit about what it is, and we are looking for people who want to give back to this community by volunteering their time, or of course financial donations are always welcome. Brittany.
So essentially what we do, we started this program in about 2018. And to be in this program, you're a 21st Century Scholarship. You receive it. You're eligible to. It's income-based. Okay?
We partner with the 21st Century Scholarship Program is what we do. And if you're not familiar with that program, the 21st Century Scholarship Program is an income-based program that gives the underserved youth 100% paid college, 100%, a 4-year college, a 2-year college, a technical degree. That's the 21st Century Scholarship Program. So in the 8th grade, what we do is we work with the counselors and help with enrollment. The students have to be enrolled by the end of 8th grade, which is kind of weird. But in the high school, we have a mentoring program.
So what we do in the high school, once the scholars are signed up, once a week, we go into North Putt, South Putt, Greencastle, Cloverdale, and we have so many people that were getting involved within the community. We do what's called a huddle. It's 25 minutes, it's during their success period, it does not take them out of the classroom. And you're paired up with 5 kids per the counselor, and you basically go over life skills with them. You mentor them, you make sure they're staying on track to graduate, you make sure that they're getting their requirements done to maintain their scholarship.
We're also partnered with the Franklin Covey Leader in Me, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. So we use that kind of as a guide for our mentors.
And back in 2018, all of Putnam County eligible students that could be enrolled was at 18%. Since Edge 21 has stepped in, we are at 80% with North, South, and we're at 98% with Cloverdale. Like, they're all.
Greencastle's at like 78%, however, the other three schools are all over 90% right now for 8th grade enrollment. As of March 1st, they all hit their goals.
How long has this been going on? I mean, this just started, where you said 2018?
Edge 21 started in 2018, but the 21st Century Scholarship Program is 30 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
You did?
Biden.
Oh, Biden did it?
Yes.
Biden.
Oh, Biden.
So that's why, that's kind of why Vic Hunter started this program, was because nobody really knows what the 21st Century Scholarship Program is, and the students just weren't getting signed up. Like Brittany said, when he started, enrollment was at 18%. In the fall of 2019, with him working with the counselors and introducing best practices, that was when enrollment was over 80% already.
That's good.
eligible.
Are there success stories out there? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
personally, so it's, I hate saying it like this, but the counselors have so much on their plate to get the kids graduated, to just do so much. And, Sarah Howard, she has like 500 kiddos by herself. There's 2 counselors in Greencastle. They split them, 250, 250. So you have one individual trying to make all this work. So when we have stepped in, so I was a 21st Century Scholar. And when I graduated, I was like, awesome, Ivy Tech's paid for. Well, I went to Ivy Tech and they said, well, you didn't get a 21st Century Scholar. I was like, yeah, I do, I have a little thing here. And they're like, no, you didn't complete your readiness requirements. So that's where we're stepping in and meeting with them individually.
I don't know how many of you know Jolie Hamilton. She's a 21st Century Scholar from Cloverdale. She is an amazing person, amazing student. She's a 21st Century Scholar and is at IU right now, getting her degree in social work, actually.
Bella Brannaman, do we know Bella Brannaman, anyone? So she is finishing up her senior year. Mom's gonna let her stay home for 2 years. She's taking a $100,000 program through Purdue University, and she's gonna do it from home, and it's paid for. So, and not only that, I personally mentor myself at Cloverdale on Wednesdays. I'm excited when I wake up Wednesday morning, because I know those kids count on me to be there, and we just go through so much stuff. We actually attended the cadet program with Steve Hibbler and
Adam.
Kelly Maynard is a success coach.
Yeah, and so we were so super sad she had a church event tonight, because she was going to speak that she's a mentor. So, but even if it's not something you personally have time for, but if you know a friend or a family member or someone who would like to get involved, in August, we have at this point 109 incoming freshmen, and that's through all 4 schools. So if we can get success coaches, it's as simple as going to www.edge21.org, click apply to be a success coach. She'll do a simple screening.
And check out our website. I mean, everything you want to know about Edge 21 is on our website. We have a reports page that shows where all the schools are at with their readiness requirements, where all the schools are at with enrollment. The website gives you a lot of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to bring more people aboard, and we actually have some community sponsorships too. We have Endeavor involved. We have First National Bank, McDonald's, Bob Jadell.
Yeah. We are a partner with McDonald's, yeah.
So we're just trying to keep it local. Vivian Whitaker, she's a huge, huge part of this too.
She was actually with Vic Hunter in 2018 when he founded it. She helped him create the program.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Someone's in my car.
Any other questions?
www.edge21.org.
Do you guys, anybody want some information on it? Yeah.
Anybody think they might be interested in becoming a success coach?
Do you have to be successful to be a coach?
Well, actually, you really just have to have a heart to serve kids.
There you go.
Right,
There you
that's
go.
all, yeah.
And is there a way to contact you directly, or just go to the website?
My phone
have-
number is
yeah.
on there, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Beth Hamilton is my name, so my phone number should be on like every one of those pages.
Yeah.
And it's on the website. That's my direct cell phone.
You want one?
Thank you both.
All right, yes, thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, I guess she's got farm ground lease, Larry. She's got four, this is the bid, farm bid. Is that what she's talking about? Farm ground?
Well, I assume so, but if you didn't do that.
Yeah, she did. Table, 10C. All right, old business, Mr. Hartman, wastewater taps.
So, we've already talked about that.
Okay. Town hall security then.
Steve will handle it, I don't know.
Okay, guardrails
Nothing there.
and the zoning.
I guess I already talked about that too.
Yes, you did. All right, good. I would, one thing that I forgot to add in the beginning is the farmer's market. Anybody here involved in that? Okay, do we have anything readily available to read or?
I don't have it with me.
No, that's okay.
I
That's
emailed
okay.
it to the council,
Yeah.
so you're aware of.
Just FYI out there, the farmer's market that's just south of First National Bank. You know, they got, I think, was it 30 vendors? It's growing, so.
Main Street normally takes care of that, Main Street, Cloverdale takes
Do
care
they?
of that.
Yeah.
Farmers Market, I believe they're still gonna be at First National Bank.
Yeah, that, we had an email about it, I just wanted to announce it, I didn't know if anybody would show up to say something about it, I just wanted to get it out there. We opened it up on Saturday, pretty soon. Yeah, May?
May 7th is what the
May
email said.
7th, thank you, Brad.
Yeah, I can remember.
Thank you, Brad. All right, anything else from town council?
The only thing there, Rick, is the very last thing is the opportunity zone update.
Yeah.
I did email that to you today. We were saying the final, I believe it was the final form of the
Is that-
prospectus.
Is that the ready?
Yeah, it's, or not ready, that's for the opportunity zone. Part of, not only is there the tax benefit, but Purdue University helped us put that prospectus together
Okay.
to help develop 3 sites that we have up there on, near the interstate. So it's just it's a nice little form that we'll be able to send out to
Okay.
potential developers, and it was all emailed to you this afternoon. I just
Okay.
received it today, so
Okay. All right.
you might look through it and see,
Yep.
it's kind of a nice little piece.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
You good, Jason?
Yeah, that's all I
Town
have.
council good? Richard, did you have anything?
I don't think else.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Folks in the audience, anything else? All right, thank you all for coming and participating.
Too late.
David Fish did touch on a couple of subjects, and one of them being the number of chuck holes we have in
Yeah.
Stardust Hills that
Yeah.
are increasing, multiplying almost by